Good afternoon, kings and queens of the land. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to all those who are joining us, those who are enjoying their bodies, those who are in the bodies, and all those who may be in their spirit. Thank you very much for joining. Our channel is now approaching 2,000 subscribers. Thank you very much for all those who have subscribed to the Royal Opinion. Your support is not taken for granted. It's highly appreciated. I want to take a moment and say thank you very much. Let me change this thing. Let me start to share this video first before we go into details about what we are talking about.
Week sitting, the MK has sought to have the Judicial Service Commission interviews to be halted, and while they appeal an earlier ruling that's barred Hlophe from partaking in the process. The MK party still maintains that its parliamentary leader, impeached Judge John Hlophe, deserves to be part of the Judicial Service Commission interviews. Now, joining me to expand a little bit further on this and to weigh in on this, I now have Kevin Smith in the studio to speak to us a little bit more on the recent events. First and foremost, I mean, JSC interviews to go on without MK party's Dr. John Hlophe. What's your analysis on the court's judgment?
I think the court actually made a very insightful judgment in that it had managed to compartmentalize what the issues in this process actually are. The AMK had said that with Dr. Hlophe's absence, it would be improperly construed. But the court rightfully pointed out that it being construed in a certain way is not necessarily the fault of the JSC, because the JSC asking for his absence is not the JSC acting in its own instance, but it's in fact following court orders. And those court orders are valid until they have either been overturned or the final decision has been made. So I think the court has actually applied itself very quickly to such a matter on such urgency. And I think the JSC, as it should proceed next week. And if anything, the final hearing of these matters should then give finality as to whether Dr. John Hlophe is rightfully someone who should be part of the JSC. And if not, how does that replacement actually take place?
All right, we spoke to an MK leader yesterday. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
We're disappointed at the outcome. You know, especially taking into consideration the kind of submissions that were made and the interaction with the judge himself. But more so in a sense that, you know, the judge here had an opportunity to, in effect, ensure that these sittings that are going to happen from the 7th and those judges, in effect, are not tainted off the back of a process that is, in effect, quite honestly, quite unconstitutional. So that's our biggest issue. And instead, it takes this hot potato and sends it back to his colleagues in the Western Cape High Court to say, well, you created this mess, you sorted out. A nominee, in this case, Dr. Hlophe, that was nominated by us to participate in the JSC sitting. And there was a vote. And he was nominated to sit there. That was the political process. That is a process that was democratic within the National Assembly. Now, you know, you find the DA using the courts, you know, for its side shows to deal with political scores. And that's what's happening. And that's why we've been calling to say we need to change this system. We are the lawmakers as parliamentarians. We make the law. The judge's responsibility are to ensure that the law is implemented according to the framework of the law that we set.
And that, of course, is the MK's spokesperson, Tlabulo Ndlela. They're crying foul. Would you say, indeed, that the DA and MK party's JSC case is a political play or a genuine concern for judicial independence and accountability?
I think, given the fact that we're in, so to speak, uncharted waters in the JSC having been construed with a former impeached judge, this is something that we have to have decided in our courts. And the reason is that because it hasn't come up in the past doesn't mean that it may not come up in the future. So a case of this nature is actually important for the JSC's functioning in the future itself, not just in its current instance. And because, like I said, we have never been in a situation where our courts or where our constitutional dispensation has to deal with a former impeached judge actually sitting as part of the JSC, it would have become a problem in the future in any event. So I think outside of it being in the realm of politics, it was important for the JSC as a whole, and it was important for the confidence in the public in the JSC itself, because what we have seen is that one of the critiques that was raised is that if someone who is being found of gross misconduct does in fact form part of the JSC, does that not erode the confidence that the public may have in the JSC's functioning? And because the JSC's function is not just one of the appointment of judges, but also on the ethics and upholding the conduct of judges, it performs a very public function. So for that reason, I think it was important that something like this has to be deliberated upon. Whether the decisions in the prior case and in this, which has just been decided, are fully valid and are fully backed by all political parties is neither here nor there.
This is the series of event. This is what actually happened if you are just joining. If you're just joining and you don't know what is happening, my name is Mngoni Mkhonto. This is the Royal Opinion. Let me give a series of event of what actually happened. Before I do that, I want to first appreciate the new people who have subscribed into my channel. I'm not taking you for granted. The people who are joining the channel, who are watching at the moment, I'm not taking you for granted. I really appreciate your attention. Thank you very much for your continued support. This is what happened in the past. Let's start the series of events. Judge John Hlophe was impeached by the JSC. The reason he was impeached is because Ellen Zille wanted him to be removed. So Judge Hlophe was impeached uh, at the Western Cape High Court as Judge President because Ellen Zille was not happy about him. He was impeached for saying Stembelegu and Fanagit. Those are the words that they say it's gross misconduct. For saying Stembelegu and Fanagit, meaning my belief, I believe in you to do the right thing. In short, if we translate it to be in English, I believe in you to do the right thing. Those are the words that they say it's gross misconduct. That Dr. Hlophe, who is demonized today, have said to one of his colleagues. There are people that he spoke these words to have never complained about it. Other judges who were not even there when he speak filed the complaint against Judge Hlophe. So the actual reason why Judge Hlophe was charged by the JSC and be found guilty, it's because Judge Hlophe wants the transformation of the judiciary. He wants the transformation of the judiciary, and because he wants the transformation of the judiciary, the white people does not like him to be in the Western Cape High Court. They successfully removed him there as a judge. They impeached him because the Western Cape, it's a very very important court there. They need to have control over that court. One of the reasons why today Judge Hlophe is excluded in the interviews that the JSC will be having. It's merely because they want to fill his position. One of the posts that are going to be placed, it's his position, which is still appealing. The Judge President of the Western Cape, Judge President John Hlophe, is still appealing his impeachment as illegal. He wanted to be reversed. But the JSC is already filling up the post. We don't know if is found to be correct by the court. We don't know what they are going to do. So Judge John Hlophe was impeached for saying, I believe in you to do the right thing. And after being impeached, Judge Don Hlophe was elected by the MK party and selected to serve in the JSC by the MK party. His name handed over to Parliament. Parliament went through deliberations and came to a political conclusions that Judge John Hlophe can be allowed to serve in the JSC. So, but because the DA and the GNU have been given a right to edit the list of members of other political parties who are going to parliament. Now you have to think about the DA when you are selecting your members who are going to go to parliament if the DA will not challenge them in court. The DA has been given the right by the South African courts to determine who should be selected by other political parties to the to the parliament and to the legislature. So the DA has been given political powers by the courts. Ellen Zille has been given political powers by the courts to eliminate the people she does not want, the people who are in the service of state, who are saving black people, who are serious about the liberation of black people. Ellen Zille, if she does not want you, she's got the power to go to court and remove you. There's no legal basis. Let's remember, there's never been any legal basis for the court to remove Judge President John Hlophe from serving in the JSC. In the constitution, they don't have any legal basis. That's why they base it only on moral. Click the like button and subscribe. This is the Royal Opinion. My name is Mgodum Konto. Let me continue and share this.
Because it's a matter of public importance, and it's a matter that needs to be adjudicated upon for the sake of the JSC's independence and for the sake of the confidence that not only the National Assembly, but more importantly, the citizens can place in the JSC itself.
And Kevin, how do you think that this judgment might affect the MK party's strategy moving forward?
I think that comes down to how they actually assess the merits of this case. Because the MK party feels that Dr. Hlophe's absence means that they are being themselves prejudiced. But I think that's not necessarily the point here. What the point is that this isn't a final order. There are still other cases that need to be heard on that validity of his appointment, and that needs to be sent back to the National Assembly at some point. So I think at the
So what they are saying, it's the propaganda that is meant to calm down the public that Dr. Hlophe is not totally excluded. He's only excluded just for these interviews. What is the reason he's excluded for these important interviews? What is the reason Dr. Hlophe is excluded for these important interviews? Why did they never found any legal basis but still went ahead to exclude him for this legal interviews. So this is the how the propaganda goes. They want the public to be calm about the issue. Let's remember the MK party has previously said uh, they will be applying two strategies to the issue. For the first strategy, they will interdict the sitting of the JSC um, through the constitutional court. That has failed. They said the second strategy, they are going to call for their members to protest against the sitting on Monday. That has not been confirmed. I'm not sure if there's any confirmation about whether the MK party will be marching tomorrow to the JSC. I'm not sure if there's any confirmation to that issue. But yeah, what is happening is the white system have decided to push black people to the edge. They have decided to push the MK party to the corner. This is the first confrontation. This is the first time the MK party has called for its members to protest in order to stop a particular decisions that has happened. Previously, the MK party has warned that the IEC should not continue to announce the result of the election. The IEC went ahead to announce the results of the election and nothing happened. So the MK party never called for its members to go into the street to protest against the IEC or to protest against the courts. The issue of the IEC, even today, we have not heard it in the court, though the issue is in the South African courts, but we haven't heard the issue in the courts, in the South African courts at the moment. So it's somehow those issues that they push far and away. So they've decided to push black people to the edge. They want to check what would be the reaction of black people if black people are again relaxed about the issue. They will still push for more, to take more from us, because that's what the system do. If you accept this, they push you a little bit more. If you accept it, and they still push you a little bit more, so that at the end of the day, you don't have anywhere to run. Why does the DA want Hlophe out of the way? I don't get it. The DA wants Dr. Hlophe out of the way because first is the most qualified person in the Judicial Service Commission. Is the highest qualified person there with a doctorate in law. He's got a doctorate in law. He's first the most qualified. Secondly, he does not agree with the current status of the judicial. He calls for the transformation of the judiciary. That's what he's been calling for in the Western Cape High Court. That's why they removed him that side, because he was calling for the transformation of the judiciary. So Dr. Hlophe is one person whom the DA does not want close to it, because Dr. Hlophe cannot be bought. Dr. Hlophe, he refused to sell out into the system of white people. He's been calling for the law to be Africanized. And in the Western Cape High Court, he even told the judges to stop writing the judgments in Latin, to write judgments in Latin, and to stop that kind of practice, because Latin is not even a language which is currently spoken. But some judges would waste time and write some judgments in Latin, which needs to be interpreted, complicating the whole thing for the person who is going to, who has to, who is in the receiving end of such, or who has to understand such kind of interpretation. So the client is, at the end of the day, is the one who suffers because he does not understand the Latin. So Judge John Thorpe is one person who called for the judgments to be clear and be shorter, and remove the Latin language into the on the judgments. And he called the law, for the law to be Africanized. That's what he says in his own words, that the Roman Dutch law must be Africanized. We must not take it as it is, the common law as it is for them, because when they drafted this common law, they did not include black people on the table. Black people were just on the ground picking the things that they are eating. So the DA does not want Judge John Thorpe because you can't buy him. That's one thing about him. Secondly, he's very intelligent. He will be able to expose them and their weak candidates that they want to appoint into the JSC as judge president into the Cape High Court. The people that they want to appoint there is going to expose them. So that's why they don't want Judge John Thorpe to appear there. So let's continue and listen to the propaganda, and as we dissect the propaganda.
The most, what it does is it inconveniences their strategy, but I don't think it is something that goes against the MK party itself, because in their papers they had said that Dr. Hlophe's absence also now taints the appointment of the 5 other appointments made from the National Assembly. But in this judgment, the judge rightfully points out that none of those other appointees have the mark of being impeached or have the mark of being found guilty of gross misconduct by the JSC. So it's something that applies very subjectively.
I hear that, but what are the potential long-term implications for Dr. Hlophe's political career and reputation? I mean, both within the MK party and in the broader political landscape.
I think it doesn't have much bearing at all. If we look at the JSC itself, it's technically a portfolio committee, but not the same as all of the other portfolio committees.
Yeah, this is how the propaganda goes. They are telling us that it does not have any impact. It's okay. He can be excluded, and it does not have any impact on MK or anybody. This is a very critical moment of South Africa. This is a critical moment where um, the power dynamics are at play. Uh, this is the critical moment where the MK party has to show, or the black people, where the spirit of the warrior black man who once existed in South Africa, the warrior black man, the warrior Zulu man who once existed in South Africa and under King Shaka, and the warrior black man who existed under King Sekhukhune, the warrior black men who existed under King Gungunyane, the warrior black men who existed under King Henza. The spirit of those warriors, if we can awaken that spirit, for the black man to go and defend his motherland, because this is about our land, this is about our freedom. Our women are believing in the man. The only hope that the black woman can have in this war is his black man. But if the black man is not fighting the system, instead is fighting against the black woman, then the black nation is in disaster. The black man, the MK party now has to go out and show force that they can be able to stop this event from happening, irrespective of the court judgments. The GNU, this could be a watershed moment in the politics of South Africa, because the GNU has got they are ready with their infrastructure. The GNU already have the infrastructure. They have the soldiers on their side, because the soldiers were established um, to defend the revolution, to fight against those who will revolt against the colonial master. The soldiers were established to fight against black people who dare to revolt against the colonial master. Click the like button and subscribe. So the soldiers are already there. They are already well established, well built. They are well and fit to defend the master. So they will be there on Monday to fight against black people. The policemen, whose job is to protect the properties of the master, will be there on Monday to defend the master. Then, if all of these are there, then if the MK party insists in stopping the event, then we could have shootings, because these people are willing and able. They are willing and able to kill. They don't hesitate when it comes to killing, if it comes to black people. 350, 360 or 70 people, I think 373 people were killed in the so-called July uprising, when they came up with that wrong judgment which kidnapped President Zuma to prison. 350, 373 black people were killed by the system for rising against the system. So this is going to happen again if black people try to rise against the system. Uh, those who will be going out, they must really be aware that it's actually a war. It's not a place to go and play games. You need to be aware. This is a where heroes goes. This is the place where only heroes goes. Those who are cowards should remain at the back, because this is the place where heroes will be made. On Monday, the MK party uh, planning to confront the GNU, which is formidable, which has got the police and has got the army well in place, and they also have the judicial machine on their side. The only way to confront them is through the only language they understand, that is forcefully stopping them, with or without their judgment. If you forcefully stop them, that is the only language they are able to understand. No other language they will be able to understand. So if we still have warrior black men, if we still have warrior black people in South Africa, let them go out and fight against these monsters. Let black warriors go out on Monday and fight against this monster to defend South Africa. Otherwise, if the GNU wins this one again, then we may as well kiss our freedom goodbye. Because now the GNU has got the power to even select the leaders of the MK party. If you bring a leader whom they don't want, they can take you to court and remove that leader. So you need to ask them which leader do they want, so that you don't have problems in your organization. So they will forward you the leader that they want you to put in parliament. So literally, the DA has been given the power to rule even in other political parties, to make decisions for other political parties. In this case, the DA has been given powers to make decisions for the MK party, to determine who they are going to deploy to parliament or to the JSC. So the DA has been given powers to do that. So if black people allow this, let's just join the DA, the Democratic Alliance. Let's let the black woman forget. Let her even stop marrying the black man, because the black man is useless. The black man will not be able to liberate her from these savage masters. Click the like button and subscribe. My name is Mgonum Konto. This is the Royal Opinion. I notice some other people just watch and forget to subscribe. Our topic, we're talking about the likelihood of the happenings on Monday, the confrontation that is likely to happen on Monday. The MK party has not yet confirmed. Since I started streaming live, they had not yet confirmed, because they want I heard that they were going to issue a briefing. I don't know whether it was gonna be a media briefing or it was just gonna be a statement. I'm not I'm not so sure. On the way forward, that has to be taken tomorrow. I understand why the MK party is mum and quiet about this issue, because it also includes intelligence issues. When they call the MK party comrades to be interviewed on SABC, they are searching for information. The questions that they are asking, it's for intelligence, to be able to prepare the what might happen on Monday. They want to be ready for any eventuality. They want to defend their system, and if they defend it successfully, then let's forget, guys. Let's just allow white people to rule, because they can make any decision for us. There's nothing we can do. Um, Black men can't do anything, because I can't blame black woman for this. The black woman cannot be forceful. The black woman has to be defended by the black man. So if the black man is not united, the black man is not going to be able to defend her woman. This land belongs to the black woman, but the black man will not be able to defend the land of the black woman, since his warrior spirit has been diminished. The DA, if the MK party leaves this to the to the DA to decide, then it means we may as well close the MK party and join Helen Zille, because at the end of the day, she's the one who's going to decide about anything that will happen in any other political party. Let's all join Helen Zille. If we can't confront Helen Zille, let's all join her. Let's close all the political parties. Let us stop pretending like there's let us stop pretending like there's an option for black people. The first black woman in South Africa to reach admiral in the Navy, Dr. Litchfield Chabalala, has joined the MK party. This one is a soldier. This one does not play. She's announced it. I've heard it. She announced it at Tsikimazwai. Um, this woman is a soldier. She's been an MK soldier in the forest, in the trenches, and now she's a soldier again, fighting against the system in the MK party. These are the women who can go and face head on, unlike many men in South Africa. Unlike many men in South Africa, this woman is still able to confront the system. As men, we've become so coward. As men, we've become slaves to the rent. We've become slaves to the economy. What black people don't realize is that the economy is not the mines. The economy is not the gold. The economy is not the platinum. The economy is not the ocean. The economy is the people. If you've got the majority, you've got the economy. These people have lied to us when they say the economy is on the what. The economy is not. The economy is on the people. You can say the economy is on the land. But if the land is alone and there's no people to consume the goods that you are producing, where will your economy be? So the economy is on the people. So as black people, we've got the economy, we've got the power of the economy because we've got the numbers. The higher the number you have, the higher your economy. The higher the number of people you have, the bigger is your economy. All this war is about people. It's not about gold. It's about human capital at the end of the day. Because the human capital is the one that consume all of the other things, all of the other resources that are produced by any other, that are produced. All other resources are produced for the sake of this human resource. So the human resource is the most important part of the economy. So as black people, we do have the economy because uh, we've got our numbers. We've got the numbers. We're the one who works for the white people. who work on their shops, were the ones who work on their kitchens, were the ones who work on their construction companies, were the ones who work on their insurances, were the managers of their policies, were the ones who grow their children. What if one day we withdraw our economy? One day we decide that we're not going to give white people our economy. Can black people be able to agree that just one day we take our economy to black people? One day, nobody works for a white company. One day, nobody buys anything in a white company. One day, nobody goes to any restaurant owned by any white person. Everybody eats in the street. Just one day, we withdraw our economy. How much are they going to lose in a day? The economy is the people. When you exploit the people, you get the money, not when you exploit their resources. The main resources that you are exploiting is the human being. When you exploit the human being, you get the money. These criminals have come up with that system that exploit human beings to get the money. What will happen on Monday? What will happen? Are we going to see guns? Are we going to see tear gas? Are we going to see, is MK Party going to chicken out of the issue now because the GNU has already declared war? Are they going to go ahead about their planned next action, or they're going to pull out, probably for the sake of avoiding bloodshed? Because the other party does not mind bloodshed. That's why they always win. You are afraid of bloodshed, they don't mind it. They are the same people who are killing people in Palestine. They are the same people who are fighting against Iran now. They are the same people who are engaged in that war. So, the people who are involved in the genocide in Palestine, they are the same people who are involved in the GNU. These are vultures. Give us your opinion. What do you think is going to happen on Monday? Do you think the MK party is going to uh, 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 pull back, or the MK party will go ahead and try and stop them? And what do you think is going to happen as part of the confrontation on Monday? Do you think it's going to be uh, bloodshed? Do you think tear gas? Do you think state of emergency? Do you think war after? What do you think is going to happen? Anything can trigger a war now in South Africa. On the other hand, I heard that the opposition have been given a right to put a motion of no confidence on Cyril Ramaphosa. This is quite important because Cyril Ramaphosa does not even trust the members of the ANC that he has there. It will be interesting to see if the members of the ANC would vote for him to survive the vote of no confidence, or is going to be voted for only by the DA members and then lose the vote in parliament. Probably if he loses in parliament, he will take the issue to court. The DA will take the issue to court to be able to win. That's the other issue which is happening, which we are waiting to see how it's going to turn out to be. Give us your opinion. Tell us what you think about the subject that we're discussing. Give us your opinion about any other issue. Click the like button and subscribe. Give us a super thanks. My name is Mngoni Mkonto. This is the Royal Opinion. If you've been listening and you feel it makes sense, you can give us the super thanks. We appreciate that very much. Tell us what do you think is going to happen. We value your opinion. True things may happen. The MK party may withdraw chicken out of the war. The MK party may insist to go into the mouth of the beast to fight. If they insist to go into the mouth of the beast, two things may happen. The JSC may stop its hearing, or the JSC will be protected by the police and the soldiers to continue with their process of interviewing judges. What will happen? Do you think they are going to be protected and the GNU will win this battle? Or do you think the MK party will have a good force which will be able to stop the event from happening? Or do you think they will just withdraw and chicken out of the situation? Give us your opinion about what will happen. You can click the like button and subscribe. Thank you very much for joining the live stream. Those who are just joining, thank you very much for joining. You can click the like button and click the subscribe button. Today in discussion, we're talking about the confrontation, very, very important confrontation, which is going to take place, or which we are looking forward. Personally, I am looking forward to it happening. The black people versus the GNU.
That exist from the National Assembly. This does have a more subjective approach, and it does have a more subjective nature, being that it deals with the judiciary and being that it deals with a branch of government that performs a very public function. So it is something where your appointees need to have a certain level of either ethical conduct or a certain level of expertise in order to make sure that that portfolio committee functions well. So I think outside of the JSC, it shouldn't have much of an impact because he still has the right to serve in parliament. He still has the right to be in the National Assembly. But I think for a very subjective portfolio committee like this, these implications do then taint or hamper his performance. And we're yet to see if the courts agree with that or not. The courts may find that he's in a position now where he can still perform those functions without them having a tainted shadow over him. So once those decisions have been made, I think this thing will then clear up the rest of his political strategy going forward.
Now, yesterday, Bosta leader Musi Maimane expressed his opinion that Parliament should handle its own issues internally and not involve the courts. Now, do you think that Parliament has the capacity to resolve its own problems and that courts' intervention is unnecessary?
No, I don't think Mr. Maimane is actually being forthcoming with that assessment. And the reason why I say that is if you look at how the Parliament and the National Assembly is construed in the first place, it's construed by virtue of the Constitution itself. Now, this is not to say that people in Parliament do not understand the Constitution, but an interpretation of the Constitution, as we are seeing now, is better dealt with in the court system where you have specialist judges who can actually deliberate on those issues. The other thing that comes into play is that because we have such a fractured government, so-called government of national unity, how do we then find the consensus on things being made? Because we can already see right now the MK and everyone else who backed the nomination of Dr. Hlophe felt that it was fine for him to be in the JSC in the first place, while they had opposition from the other side of the room. So we would be in situations where we always have parties at loggerheads to make these decisions, and it will.
The majority of organizations in parliament have agreed that Dr. Hlophe can go and serve in the JSC, which talks to the separation of powers. The separation of powers talks to when parliament make decisions that are not supposed to be dictated or to be adjudicated by any other arm of government. That's the only time we can say parliament is independent. Parliament is the representation of the people. The people elect parliament. We don't elect judges. The judges are not supposed to be the one who are making decisions on behalf of the general public. The judges are not the ones who are supposed to be making the law. The parliamentarians are supposed to be the ones making the law. If we talk about separation of powers, otherwise, there's no separation of powers. Everybody else can do everything else. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining the live stream. You can click the like button and subscribe. We will end the live stream. Yeah, let's meet on another live stream tomorrow. Thank you.